All right, let's move to the midfield. I think starting lineup for the midfield, Dempsey.
Are we playing a 4-4-2 or are we playing a
I'm going to set it up as a 4-4-2 right now because I just kind of feel like even if we play something else, it'll be sort of a reserve striker, so it'll look like a 4-4-1-1, which is more like a 4-5-1. But either way, here's how I see the four in the middle. I think because Dempsey's back, you start him where he's most comfortable, which is left midfield, and then you have Shea come in during the halftime.
Of course.
And then in the middle, I think I'd like to see Torres and Beckerman start together. And I know you have Laurentowicz and Kleshchen that could come in, during halftime. On the right midfield, I'd like to see Donovan start if he doesn't start at striker, which I don't think they're going to do quite right off the bat. They may move him there as sort of a reserve striker in the second half. But I'd like to see Donovan start out there and Rogers finish up by the end of the game.
It's a question of how to use Kleshchen. I agree with Dempsey out left. I stick with Donovan out right. As far as our center pairings concerned, I would say Beckerman and Torres as well. Torres, I thought his game improved a lot when he went into the midfield. He's not a left mid, obviously, but I thought he played well when he moved into the center. And you played Beckerman because he played well also. You give him another shot. That leaves Adu. That leaves Kleshchen. That leaves Laurentowicz. As far as center options, I could see Kleshchen being used as a left or right mid option. He has played out in the wing for his club before. It just depends on where you want to use him.
Yeah, I don't.
He's very versatile. He doesn't have the biggest amount of speed. But then again, you look at Dempsey, and Dempsey doesn't have the most speed either.
Yeah,
but he offers an option there.
Well, I was just going to see. I mean, you're more likely to see either Dempsey or Donovan in the second half move up to a sort of reserve striker role. So you're definitely going to see Shea, and I think you're definitely going to see Rogers. And you brought up Adu, and I don't know how I just missed him, but you're right. Yeah. I mean, if you start with Torres and Beckerman, or you can also start with Adu and Torres. You don't have to start with Beckerman and Torres. You could start with Adu and Torres and see how it works out.
And I start with Beckerman simply because of his performance against Mexico.
Yeah, he's great.
I mean, there's no reason not to start him. I mean, he was absolutely on fire there. There's no reason not to start him. Speaking of somebody on fire, I hope. I mean, obviously we talked about Shea coming in the second half, but I hope he comes in,
soon. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, we saw him over the weekend. He got a brace on assist.
He's on fire.
He single-handedly helped FC Dallas come back from a 2-0 deficit.
Yeah.
And I mean, he is absolutely on fire, and I hope he comes out ready to play. I really do.
I think he will. I think Shea. And there is no BS on this. There are multiple teams in the Bundesliga and multiple teams in the EPL, from what I hear through the grapevine.
There's all around Europe interested in it.
Yeah, I mean,
all around.
I'm just talking about the leagues that I think that he would do really well in because of his size and his speed and his athleticism. I think he would do well in either the Bundesliga or the EPL, but I think he'd do pretty well in a lot of other places. I don't think he'd do as well in Spain, or maybe not as well in Italy, but I think in England, in the Bundesliga, where there are a lot of Americans in both of those leagues already, I think he would feel comfortable, and I think he would fit in, and he certainly, if he continues this sort of, this confidence tide that he is on right now, and he rides that wave for, a few more years, this guy could be one of the better hot American players we've had in some time.
And you mentioned this is completely off subject to where we're at, but since you're mentioning the leagues that he could possibly go to and do well in, I personally would like to see him go to Holland to make this first initial step into Europe. I think he'd do well there, and then he could branch out from that point on. But again, that's getting off subject.
Yeah. Well, I heard some Celtic fan online was really intense about having Shea move to Celtic. So we'll see, and that he had heard rumblings about that. Well, we'll see about that because there's only one American player on Celtic right now, and then some people are complaining that Rangers has too many American players, and why doesn't Celtic sign some more American players? And that last name of his, if you put an O in front of it, you have O'Shea, and there you go. Yeah.
Obviously it's not in my control, and what I say doesn't really matter, but I would honestly pass.
Yeah.
If Celtic came knocking. Nothing against Celtic.
Yeah, we cannot have this debate again.
With Shea's ability and his frail, body. I'm not saying he's frail, but I'm saying he is a beanpole. He is small.
He was. I don't think he's much of a beanpole now.
That's true. He has. I think he has developed. I'm just saying. I don't think SPL is necessarily the league for him to develop further. And I hope that he doesn't go there.
Yeah, he probably.
Again, not bashing SPL, but I'm just saying. For Shea, I don't think that's necessarily the league for him to go to develop further. I think he would have just as much development here in MLS if he stayed here.
Well, if he goes to any alternative leagues, and let's say he goes to Holland, I wouldn't mind that either, because if he goes to some place like PSV or Ajax, or, I think those are really competitive clubs. I wouldn't even mind, having him at AZ and teaming up with Josie. Yeah, and Josie, here's another guy who's on fire right now.
5 goals for the team so far?
Yeah.
Three in the league and 2 in the cup? Oh, my God. He's
Take
on
that,
fire.
you Josie haters.
Honestly, where did he come from?
Stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
Not to mention the fact that he has 2 goals for the national team this year as well.
Yeah.
He is a guy that is on a mission to excel.
Yeah.
He really is. And while we're jumping on to the forwards here, I really like all 4 options for forwards. I still don't necessarily lump Donovan as a striker per se.
Yeah. Or Dempsey.
Or Dempsey for that matter either, yeah, but the three true forwards we have, Teal Bunbury, Agudelo, and Altidore. I like the trio. I really do, and I think it's going to do well.
I'd like to, in fact, and here's a real crazy thought. Let's just start Shea at left midfield and move Dempsey up to striker right off the bat at the beginning of the game and have him play with Altidore up top.
Good.
Bunbury, Agudelo, you know what they're doing? Not Bunbury. Bunbury's performed very well for KC, so I'm not complaining. But Agudelo's doing nothing with his club team, and generally over the last number of weeks. So let's start an Altidore Dempsey combo up top, or with Dempsey playing sort of the reserve striker, or I'd even before starting Rogers and having Donovan and Altidore start up top together. Either one would work just fine with me.
Given the options available, I would see Agudelo and Altidore starting. With Donovan on the right wing. Now, if Donovan is pushed up to striker, obviously Agudelo gets pushed off.
Reserve striker, though.
But
reserve striker, though, for sure.
Yeah.
Kind of a Rossi role at Villarreal, not a literal,
not a true striker, but not a true midfielder either. It's just that shadow striker.
Right, exactly.
And if we look at if Donovan gets pushed off to the right wing, I see Agudelo and Altidore starting. I do. Bunbury is competing with Altidore for a position, and quite frankly, he's not going to knock Altidore off. Altidore is on a streak, and he is powerful, and he is putting goals away.
No doubt that Altidore should start based on his club performance, but Agudelo, I just don't want him. I think
you put Bunbury, you put Altidore, and you have two similar style. Not necessarily completely similar. I'm just saying they play a similar role.
That's why I'm not for rewarding Agudelo, even with a spot, frankly, for his club play. I would much rather sit Agudelo and say, hey, buddy, go earn it at your club, and then start either Dempsey or Donovan up top, and then start Shea or Rogers on the wings instead of one of the other.
No, I can see that happening. That's a possibility. I don't disagree with you on this.
I think Donovan would be a better person to play up top with Altidore than Dempsey, because he offers the other half of that dimension, which is speed. Yes,
I know that's a very possible replacement. I agree with you on that.
I just don't, and we're talking about Michael Bradley and Jermaine Jones not even being on this team. There's a reason probably Michael Bradley's not on this team, because he hasn't played except for the national team now since the trade to Aston Villa. I mean, he barely played for Aston Villa. Mönchengladbach want nothing to do with him right now. And then, I don't know why you don't include Jermaine Jones on this team. I know he didn't perform well, but he has some, club things he needs to take care of at Schalke and wants to nail down the starting role. So that's fine. I'm fine with that. But what it does is just leaves a great, vast opportunity for a whole lot of these players we just talked about right now. And I hope some of them take advantage of it.
Well, and it opens up a position for Adu. I think Jones wasn't included because Adu was included, in all honesty. I don't think Michael Bradley was even an option because, quite frankly, he has to fix his club situation. And that might be happening, but all the rumors pointing to an Italian team picking him up, and it looks like with the Italian strike occurring, that might cause more of a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean,
I thought that
it
was
is, it is what it is. I mean, neither Bradley nor Johnson had a stellar match against Mexico, so it makes sense not to include them. And with one fighting for a team period,
yeah,
and then the other one just
yeah,
where's that?
I heard that the whole Jermaine Jones non-pick was basically he was fighting for a starting role in Schalke, but that's through the grapevine.
Same situation then, pretty much.
It is. I mean, Michael Bradley's trying to find a club. It's sort of the same, but Jermaine Jones has a club. He has been playing for Schalke, but he wants to make sure that he remains in the vision of the manager there. They don't call
that boils down to almost the same situation that Chandler was in against the Mexico match. They claimed that he had an injury at first, but then they're saying, hey, you know what, he's only played half a season for us. He's really need to solidify that starting position. And I think it's the same thing, really. And even with Bradley, I think it's the same situation. Bradley has to fix his club situation before he should really focus on the national, and that's how it should work.
Yeah, I do too.
Or the players that are doing well at their teams. That's why Beckerman, that's why Shea are getting looks.
Yep.
I mean, why not?
And even Lorenowitz is on the team, mostly for
not so much against the Fire.
But just
in general,
he's there for practice purposes. Let's be honest. If he sees the field, I'll be a little surprised.
It's funny because as much as I've grown to hate Lorenowitz simply because of his time with New England, he is an excellent cleanup center midfielder,
and he's got a rocket.
And he's got a rocket of a shot. He does. Whether or not he's international quality, I don't know. But he is a talented center midfield option. I don't disagree with this call-up. I don't disagree with letting him get a shot. Mm-hmm. Whether or not he impresses during the camp and gets a look, maybe as a sub, I don't know. But I don't disagree with it. I think he's a talented player.
I think he's all right for a ginger. He's no Skulls, though.
That's the first ginger comment on sure. I'm glad that it finally happened.
Yeah, he's no Paul Scholes, though. Yeah. All right. One last thing before we move on. George John's deal with Blackburn completely fell through today, or maybe it was yesterday, for all I know. But anyhow, it's done, and he's not moving. This is huge, big news for FC Dallas. This basically solidifies their run through the playoffs. I mean, you now don't have to experiment in your back four anymore. The guy that's been there holding the line for your back four, he's back. And now what? There's nothing but clear sailing for the hottest team in MLS right now, I think. Or at least the team with the hottest player, Brek Shea.
You know what? It's good news for them. Short term, definitely. Maybe even long term. We'll see. It's good that he's getting some acknowledgement across the pond. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, he continues to play well. Hopefully, he finds a way onto the U.S. national team and not necessarily over to the Greek national team. But for the reasons that it might have fallen through, if it was MLS and FC Dallas looking for the highest price, I agree with the fact that we shouldn't undervalue our players. We shouldn't. I mean, we're not we're looking to be a league that's not out to make money off of transferring players, like a lot of feeder leagues are.
Yeah.
We're a league that's trying to be competitive. We're a league that's trying to make a name for itself. selling your top players is not the way to go.